So, how do you create a survey in StatCrunch? So first off, you're going to go into StatCrunch, and if you click My StatCrunch, you can then click Surveys. And over on the left-hand side, it says Create a Survey. Guess what you click? Create a survey. And then you're going to give the survey some sort of a name. Right? So I'll just call this the JJC demo, which I already have that. So I'll just say demonstration. And initially, you want your survey to be closed for responses as you're entering in the different questions that you might want to ask. Allow others to copy is pretty obvious. It would mean that if you create a survey, you can share it with others and they can copy it from you. Allow multiple submissions from the same respondent. Leave that box checked so that the same individual doesn't respond twice. You can associate a picture with your survey if you so choose. Click Submit. And now you're ready to start entering questions for your survey. You can see up on the top of the survey that you have a variety of options for how you want the question to be phrased. It could be multiple choice, it could be fill in the blank, it could be a free response, it could be multi-part. My recommendation to you is to avoid free response. Why? It's difficult to analyze the data. To give you a simple example, free response. What is your gender? You know how many different ways somebody could say male, female? They could do capital M, they could do lowercase m, they could spell out male, they could write boy, they could write man, any of those things, and they're all the same thing, and yet StatCrunch sees it as different characters and therefore different responses. So avoid free response unless it's absolutely necessary for your particular question. All right, so you're going to add a question, make it a multiple choice question, let's say. When you do surveys, typically you always want to, regardless of what your research objective is, you typically want to get some demographic background about the person that you're surveying. Their gender, maybe their level of education, maybe their level of income. I don't necessarily recommend that you write a question that says, what is your annual income? Because that's too sensitive. If you want something like that, maybe put a range of incomes, less than $20,000, $20,000 to $50,000, something along those lines. So I would always get, if I was you, gender, I would get age, I would get maybe level of education, if you think that that might be a variable that's associated with one of the variables that's in one of your true response variables. So to create a multiple choice question is really simple. So I'll just do, what is your gender? We literally just type that in, see? And then down here are your options for your multiple choice responses. So you could put female and male. And then column label, what that does for you is it labels the column of the data when you're going to go analyze it. Rather than that first column being blank, now it'll say that the variable is gender. Position is what question number that particular question comes in. So if you, as you're doing your survey, you think of another question that you might want to ask, but you don't want it to be at the end of the survey, you can move it to any position you want in your survey. Click Submit Question, and bada bing, you've just created a question in StatCrunch. And that's how multiple choice works. Now, like I said, another good demographic question to ask is, what is your age? Now, it's under multiple choice because we don't want people to put in things like I'm 33 and a half. StatCrunch is nice in that it allows you to choose from common options. If you click this, you can enter integers 1, 2, however high you want the value to go. Like I was reading a prudential thing saying that somebody that is alive today is going to live till they're 150. So maybe that's the highest number we should put in. Nobody less than 1 year of age is going to respond to our survey, is what this is saying as well. So there are all the things, 1 through 150. Label this column age. Click Submit Question. When you have a ton of possible outcomes, StatCrunch makes the results a drop-down menu rather than a bunch of those radio buttons. right? So the user would just say choose one, and then you'd enter in your age. So that by the way, another common response is cities or states rather. So if you want to say what state were you born in, if not born in U.S. state, or maybe say answer other. This is a nice exercise as well because you really have to be careful how you phrase the question to make sure the question that you're asking is the question that somebody answers. In chapter 1 of the book, it talks about how you can phrase questions so that you're not necessarily leading somebody to a particular response. So choose from common options. 50 U.S. states plus District of Columbia is what you could select, and there they all drop in for you. Now I said, if not born in the U.S., state other, so down here at the bottom I could add in other. Or if you want, I could say born outside of U.S., something like that. And then this would be birthplace, right? Submit question. And again, it's a drop-down menu. Another option for asking questions is fill in the blank. And you can see how this works. You would type in your question text, and then you can have restrictions on numeric input. So if I was to ask how many hours did you sleep last night, and you might want to have round to the nearest tenth, round to the nearest whole number, and then only accept numeric input. So the smallest value you could enter in is 0, and the largest value you could enter is 24. So nobody can sleep 26 hours, right? Nobody can sleep -2 hours. It won't allow that. And then name the column, sleep. Submit question, and now you can see that question is there, and it's a fill in the blank. See that? Those are the popular ones to use. Another popular one to use, though, is multi-part. Maybe you're interested in smoking status of individuals. So this question or this series of questions would be about smoking status. So there's the smoking status question, and you can start adding parts now. Like, for example, are you currently a smoker? Okay. And that's probably a bad question to ask depending on what you're looking to gather from this. Because are you a smoker? Do you mean cigars? Do you mean cigarettes? Do you enter one? So the answers here would be yes or no. Right? And so this would be smoking status. And it's part A. See that? And now I can go down and have another, maybe I could have a fill in the blank. If yes, how many cigs do you smoke each day, maybe on average, or something like that? Only accept numeric input. If you're truly a smoker, then you can't put down 0 there. That wouldn't be right, right? And then upper limit. Ooh. I guess you could do a little bit of math here. How long does it take to smoke one cigarette? 5 minutes? So the most you could smoke is, let's say, 12 in an hour. And if you're up for 24 hours, the most you could smoke is, what's 12 times 24? 288. There you go. That's the most you could smoke in a day. If you're more than that, wow. All right. So this would be number of cigs or something like that. See? Submit question. And now that's part B. See it? Pretty slick, huh? And you could just go on and on and on. So now the question becomes, all right, how do I make this available to folks to actually do this particular survey? Go back to edit now and make the survey open for responses. Open for responses. Click submit. And now look at how many different options StatCrunch gives you for sharing this survey with folks. You could create a little web page if you wanted. So there's an HTML link. There's an email link. Just copy this link and email the link to whoever you feel like and say, hey, could you take my survey? And oh, by the way, forward this to whoever the heck you feel like. Or you can, how many use Twitter? Anyone? So you could click Twitter and it'll create a little, what do they call those? Itsy bitsies or itties or the itty bitty links in Twitter.
Oh, I know.
Right? The shortened links, right? It'll create one of those and put it to your @whatever account and blast it out to folks to take my survey. If you want, you could also do it in Facebook. Check this out. Click Facebook and it immediately jumps right onto your wall. See that? All I have to do is click share a link and it would pop up on my wall for Facebook, and anyone could take the survey. That's the other cool thing about this. You do not need to be a StatCrunch subscriber to do the StatCrunch survey. So those are all the ways you can share the results. Now, once you have shared the results, as soon as some people start taking the results, you're going to see this response number go up and up and up, right? So like if I take this survey, male, age, state you were born in, hours slept last night, not a smoker, and then down here, math guard 8 plus 1 is 9, so a computer's not taking your survey. Click survey, submit survey, it says thank you, that's nice. If I go back to my survey now, see how it says 1? I have 1 outcome. Once you're going to close your survey, make sure you close it. Remember how we made it open? Then you can close it. Click Analyze, and boom, your data drops right into a spreadsheet for you. And it's ready to be analyzed. So what I would suggest is over the course of the next couple of weeks, build this, get it out there so that you get your responses.
Like, are we just answering questions, just kind of random questions?
I'm going to submit things to you, but yeah, they're basically what interests you. What would you like to know the answer to? Go into, like in the Sullivan Statistics Survey, the one that is in the book, I asked things like, what income level do you consider to be rich? Then I got things like, what's your political philosophy? Conservative, moderate, liberal? What party do you associate with? Democrat, Republican? And then you can start doing things like, is there an association between political philosophy and what income level is considered to be rich? Right? The other thing that I would suggest is, as you're reading the newspaper, see what kinds of studies are in the newspaper. And you can ask the same exact questions. That's why, go to that Harris Interactive, go to Pew Research, go to Gallup, and they ask all kinds of questions. And then you can get the answers to those questions. You can write those questions yourself and compare your results to what Gallup said.
When people answer this, it's anonymous, right?
It's anonymous.
Because I already know where I'm rolling mine. I'm going to have income levels and stuff, so I won't know who did what.
Right.
That's kind of personal.
Absolutely. Yeah. But that's another great point to raise, is that if you're going to start asking so-called sensitive questions, right? Do you cheat on your taxes or whatever, right? People probably are going to be a little apprehensive about answering that question. Yeah, but I mean, the idea here is to have fun with it.